So there's a couple different things you can put in a spinfish. I mean, you can really put whatever you like inside of the spinfish, you know, from herring to anchovies to tuna fish to squid to shrimp, you know, whatever you like, a night crawler, whatever you want to put in there, right? You can chop up and you can put in the spinfish. But I'm going to show you what's been best for me here at this buoy 10 fishery and out on the ocean for my spinfish recipes. Now, what I like to do is I like to start with a can of chicken of the sea, tuna in oil. You can see right there it says tuna in oil. And what I do first, which I've already done here, is I drain the oil off. And so when I drain the oil off, I get left with, you know, a drier product. So therefore, when I add my scents that I want to, it'll absorb them better. So I just simply take this can of tuna, and I'm just going to put it right here inside of my Tupperware deal, get it all out of there. And make sure you wear gloves. And when you do this salmon, you know, you don't want any foreign scents on it or anything. It's also great for when you're baiting up your lure to make sure you wear some sort of nitrile gloves, like no powder, no scent. These happen to be an 8mm glove with a little bit of grip on them. They last me about all day, and they're really good for keeping your scent and foreign scents out of your baits. So now that we've got our tuna in there, what I like to do is, I have a few different recipes and I'll explain them to you. I like anchovy oil. I like to add about, 2 ounces or so of anchovy oil in here, right? Get a good little base of it in there. Okay, and the other one that I never leave home without is bloody tuna. The bloody tuna oil is one of my absolute staples, right? This stuff here kills it every year, everywhere, every season, every fish. They just absolutely love it. So I'm gonna add a little bit of bloody tuna to this. Okay, about 2 ounces or so, or about 1.5 ounces. And then I like to procure krill powder, right? So this comes right here. You can see this is a procure krill powder. This is just ground up krill. Procure does a great job with this stuff. And I add some of that in there. Okay, you don't have to add a lot, just enough, there you go, just to make it a little seasoned. Now, one thing I don't do here that I do in other places is I'll add, you know, a little bit of sea salt to my mixtures when I go back home upriver. In the salt, I don't need the salt because there's already salt out there. And so as I get home, those fish kind of crave salt the further they get away from the ocean. So I'll add some salt into this brine too, and it helps thicken it up a little bit. So after you've mixed it, you know, got everything in here like this, you simply take it and you mix it all together. And you can see that krill powder helps thicken that up. It gets those oils in there and kind of, you know, changes the color a little bit. And you're left with a really, really good brine of salmon mixture. Now, you know, I did the baiting the spinfish thing, but as you can see, this is a 2.5 thumper spinfish. Real simple now. You just come to your bait container. You can put your bait right on in here. In both sides. Get them nice and full. Squish it together. And you should be able to see those oils, yep, starting to squeeze out of it, all on the bottom. Now, a great tip for this, whenever you bring it back in after a while, say you don't, you know, the bait generally stays in these spinfish quite a while. And so when I bring them back in, what I like to do is I like to add some of, like Procure super gels, right? Like, see, this is much more thick than the oil. And so this works great for taking right here in this scent hole, and you just fill this scent hole up, and then pack it just like a bearing. Like you would a bearing, right? You fill that scent hole right up there. So now that allows that to go right through there. Your spinfish is now recharged and ready to go back out. There's a lot of other great products you can add to this. One thing I usually will make another recipes with the Northwest Bait and Scent sand shrimp formula and the salmon formula. Those are two really, really good ones too. And so you're making yourself a couple of different Tupperware containers with a couple of different scents, and let the fish tell you what they want that day. I hope these tips help you catch more fish out here in the buoy 10 fishery, the salt, or back home, or wherever your fisheries may need a spinfish.